All right, back at it here today. We're going to start working on some of the bigger panels, so specifically the hood. And what we're going to work with is the force rotation machine, the Mille. Man, this thing is a lot heavier than the LHR-15. We're going to work through using force rotation. I don't have a lot of experience with force rotation. I've held them, and actually done lots of back-to-back stuff, but I've never done a whole car or done large sections with one. The Flex being the competitor to the Rupes here, but I just prefer a DA. I just think it's more sophisticated. I don't know. It's just a personal preference, right? And the counterintuitive thing that Jason Rose was talking about when we were working with this at the Rupes facility is that force rotation is actually the learning curve on it. It's a little quicker, it's a little simpler to grasp. We have no machine stall, so no line needs to be drawn anywhere on the pad. This particular machine operates in the same direction as the dual action machines. So I guess what are your traditional dual action movement machines? This is dual action as well, but we'll call this force rotation. I'll call that DA, we'll call this force rotation, just for the sake of argument here. But this moves in the same rotation, unlike Flex, which operates in the opposite direction. So I prefer this to the Flex because of that familiarity with how the movement of the pad operates. So it'll be interesting to see how these pads see if we can do the same corrective process using Perfect Finish yellow pad, 3, maybe 4 passes, and we'll see how it reacts in the Subaru's paint, see if we notice a big difference here. If you haven't watched the series on all the different Rupes parts or all the different polishing package parts, a couple of differences on this. One, it's heavier. The body is very similar, if not, I think the body might even be the same as the 15 and the 21. But we have the V3 or the Mark III version of the trigger, the speed dial. We have the dual pads, so it sits very nicely here on the table, and then we have the really neat variable speed trigger with the sort of rubberized little grip on the bottom of it. I really like it. And then extremely long power cord, which I don't like as much because then I have to wrap it up. But anyway, let's get rolling on this. Oh, another thing that's important, here's the difference in 5-inch pads. So we have a much thinner pad for the force rotation machine. You could probably use this pad on here, but it will likely have issues with too much squabble or rotating, and we'll end up tearing the pad apart. So we're going to be using the Rupes Yellow 5-inch backing plate. It comes with a 6-inch backing plate, which for the size of this car I'm not going to need. So we're going to roll with the 5-inch. Comes with 5 and 6 right in the box, so you could swap it out if you needed to. And then these don't use a center location. They use multiple, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws instead of single, because it would I think it would vibrate our back out. So anyway, let's get this all set up. We're going to get this primed. The hood's wiped down, and we're going to use a combination of this and probably the pneumatic, because the pneumatic's awesome, and I love that thing to correct out the hood here. So if you haven't watched the other videos in the series, we're going to use the same procedure here. Even though this is a brand new pad, it's been sitting on the shelf. You always tell force rotation because you can't just twist the pad really easily like you do on a regular. I'm going to try this OSHA compliant. So I also can't spin it like I would with a DA. So let's prime it. This is a Meguiar's blank bottle that I have Perfect Finish in. Somebody had asked about priming foam pads. I don't know that it's critical, but it just makes sense to me that if I want to do this properly, I don't want to have dry spots on my pad. Now, we're going to actively prime this on the panel. So anyway, we got our pad ready to go. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is prop the hood up here. There we go. There, that'll prop our hood up so we can get all our edge work done without affecting the surrounding areas. Will also give me some room to get in here and fix that. I like the height of this. Yeah, I like that. I don't think I can take the belt off. Yeah, I'm going to, just to be safe. I'm going to remove my belt. I think my pants will stay up. I'm down to 221 this morning, so I'm in a crazy weight loss challenge with Chris. And I'm going to win this time. My shirt will stay above. There's a little plastic button there, but I think we'll be good. Okay, so everything's taped off that needs to be taped. Since we're talking Mille, you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to do. Yeah, let's just for camera here. Let's start. I guess I want to start in the end where I normally would. So I'm going to lower this a little bit. Okay, all right, one of the virtues of forced rotation is its ability to do edge work really well. Again, there's no stalling of the pad, so this machine will never stop rotating, so it tends to do really well coming up the edges, especially curved edges. Let's prime this. Pad's soaking up quite a bit of product. Get this primed on the fly here. All right, that ought to do it. All right, so the movement here, if you're not familiar, the movement difference is this moves in a circle, right? It's a rotation, but there's like a perfect circular randomness to it, but quite a bit more organization than a typical random orbital. All right, let's see if that does the trick. I know these things do the same thing, but it feels so much more aggressive. That was on speed 2.5. And yellow pad. I just feel like I'm working hard on that sucker. You know, the key with a forced rotation machine is to not fight it too much. You know, we want to let it do its thing and just follow it around. Scan grip pen light. Yeah, did the trick. Stuff is easy to fix. So I want to reach, because I haven't polished this fender, but I did polish that fender. So I'm going to reach over, Try to reach a little further since I don't want to lean on the fender that I already corrected on the other side and blow up my pad. I think I'd really want a Tornador blower. I don't have one. If I was using this, because it doesn't spin like a regular traditional dual action. I'm not gonna lie, right now I'm wanting to quit with this thing. I want to go grab my super smooth LHR 15 Mark II and do this section. But I'm gonna force myself to use it. Try a little bit more speed, see how that does. Speed 4. I feel like I can do giant sections with this thing though. A bit more heat. I mean, this thing just feels like a gosh darn sledgehammer. But it's most definitely getting the job done. Let's see what the Phoenix says. Yep. Good to go on that. Now I'm gonna grab the DA just to feel the difference back to back again. I know I've done this before at Rupes. This is our LHR 15. First thing I notice, it's a whole lot lighter. I don't have my buttering tool, it's over there, so let's just prime this on the fly here. Should do that slower. We're going to talk about night and day differences between the gear driven and the dual action, the traditional dual action random orbital. That's what I should be calling it, random orbital, not dual action. It's just night and day difference in how it feels. Now for me, probably familiarity, I'm choosing the traditional random orbital. The result is the same, or it's coming out very similarly. But the traditional dual action is much smoother to me, much easier to manage. I'm gonna grab the 3-inch and do this section here. Telling you guys, even if it's just for that one little spot That 3-inch pneumatic is amazing. I know, many of you have been questioning, like, why would you waste all this time and money and energy just to get that? I don't intend to use just this, just my compressor for just pneumatic polishing. And I'll probably primarily use the 3-inch because it's amazing. It's lighter, it's more nimble, it's more control. It's really sort of unexplainable until you get your hands on one. It's a very different user experience. You certainly don't need it. It's not a need thing. For me, it's I've always wanted one and it's awesome. I guess you could fault me for that, but I wouldn't fault somebody for that. Careful with that edge there. Cleaned up pretty nicely. Jim White must have just put out a video, I hadn't seen it, where he gave a tip to wet the bag that we're blowing off into, wet the bag of the garbage can. I thought was pretty slick. But it's funny because I had 6 or 7 comments and only one person actually honored the source of where that came from. The other guys try to just look smart or make me look dumb. I'm probably going to want to use the big one to get it down deeper into there. I don't know why we're dusting so much here. Must be an older pad. Gotta be really careful with this edge here. That's not going to get in there either. Let's see if the Nano fits. Nope. Shoot. Not even close. Let's break out the old 21. That pad will get in there. The old 7-inch pad, 6-inch backing plate. That's how I used to do all my cars. I had a 21 before I had a 15. I recommend you do 15, hopefully 15 Mark II, then the 3-inch, the LHR 75, then Nano, then 21. The 21 isn't necessary to do a car, but it's good to have. I guess this curved panel isn't the best place to prime. Wow, I haven't used this big boy in a while. All right, so we got some pretty deeper, much deeper stuff here. So we can get this up in here now. Before I get too far into this, just to be safe, always err on the side of, if you think you might hit it, tape it. It takes 30 seconds versus having to look at a burn spot for the rest of your life. Pants are falling off because I don't have my belt on. I'm going to keep my finger in the middle there. The machine can't brush up against it. Yeah, that did the job. Getting the big 7-inch pad out. I'm not even going to get the light out because I don't want to see. Wow. Look at that. I didn't think all the scratches are going to come out. The whole thing. I'm going to spot treat this one right here. There's a little deeper scratch here. Use our Jess car. If this is the first video you're watching, put a little Jess car in here too. And a microfiber pad to knock out any deeper scratches. It's worked really well. Follow with our perfect finish. So I've been correcting with the perfect finish, one stepping, and then if I do have something left over, I'll come back with the Jess car. Make as few passes as possible, get it done. Good. I didn't get the edges very good here. See if I can get up in there a little better. I swear I could just stand here and use this 3-inch all day. Well, that's something that occurs to me. Lots of comments on the pneumatics about wearing ear protection, and you know, I'm crazy. I think the thing you have to remember is my mic is right here, right? It's right on my collar of my shirt, and I'm leaning in, and this mic is sensitive. I mean, that's why, I know you make fun of me all the time, but that's why you can hear me breathing all the time on this thing. It's in order to get crisp, clear audio, that's the byproduct of it. And I'm not engineering the audio afterwards. I'm just putting up whatever I capture. So I've set the levels, and then it's a good happy medium. So the pneumatics, I would argue, are considerably quieter than the electrics. Like if you were here in person, I think you would notice that. I don't like that. Get that real quick. So let's do one more big section with the big boy. So we got all the edge work done here. Let's do this bigger section with the Mille. Gonna wrap up this panel, wrap up this video. I'm going to split it into 2 sections here. Jeez, things like fighting a Mustang, like a Bronco. Jeez, I feel like I'm working a lot harder to keep that thing under control, but the result is great. But if you give me the choice, I'm gonna pick the random orbital, the regular random orbital over this. It's just such a different user experience. I'm sure you guys that have grown up on a force rotation machine, if you get your hands on a regular orbital, it feels like you're not doing any work, right? That thing feels like it's polishing out the paint a lot more aggressively. So I think it's still it's a really viable. The result is great, though. I'm telling you. It looks fantastic. All right, so the question with this video is, do you need an LK 900E? Do you need the force rotation machine? I think on certain paints, and I'm really digging the result here. I don't like the experience as much with that as I like the result. I'm hanging on for dear life and just sort of guiding the machine where it wants to go, where I feel like I know I have a lot more control with the traditional random orbital, the traditional the LK, or I'm sorry, the LHR 15 Mark II. So again, the result is great, and I'm guessing on certain paints or larger vehicles, that force rotation machine is going to come in really handy. So I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, man, I really don't want to use that on this. I'd rather use the one that I'm so used to. So I'm sitting here thinking, I mean, is that just because of what I'm used to, or is it because the traditional dual action is better? Is it that I just don't know how to use the force rotation? I think it's just application based. So I'm glad I have it, I think it's the ultimate. So I think it's the 5th polisher that you buy. So I think number 1 is 15 Mark II, number 2 is 75E, number 3 is the Nano, number 4 is the 21, number 5 would be the LK900E, the forced rotation machine. And then if you're fortunate enough to have a ridiculous air compressor, then you could do some of the pneumatic stuff. But right now, the LHR 75, the pneumatic 3-inch, is my second favorite behind the 15 Mark II. So anyway, it's good to use different products. Again, the result of that, it feels like I'm ripping the paint off the car. I know it's not. It's just the way that it's geared and the way that it feels. But it's getting a fantastic result. The whole hood looks amazing. So hood's done. That whole side of the car is done. The front bumper's done. I'm going to work through the other sides of the car. We'll come back and maybe do a quick little wrap up on the trunk of the different polishing systems, and then we'll move on to prepping this for wax, sealant wax, and topping aging. I'm going to be putting bead maker on this. We'll also be dealing with dressing the tires, coating the trim, and dealing with the glass, and then maybe do a little bit of interior stuff. So anyway, thanks for watching this one. Catch you soon. As always, stay tuned for more crazy. What happens when the force pulls you back, your foot naturally comes off the gas. You have to keep your foot to the floor, to the floor.